Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jafri with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show with Afghanistan, where the spate of terror continues as terror attacks rocked the capital city Kabul twice in a day. While one attack was claimed by ISIS, Khorasan and another by the Taliban, the government of Afghanistan has refuted their claims, citing it was a coordinated attack executed by the Haqqani network with the assistance of Lashkar-e-Taiba. A report.
Yet another act of violence and horror rocked the capital of Afghanistan as two successive suicide blasts ripped through the security installation of the country, killing at least 6 and wounding several others. In a coordinated exercise of terror, gunmen and suicide bombers struck a police station in Dasti Barchi locality, Police District 13 in western Kabul, soon after which another group of terrorists in central Kabul armed with suicide jackets and guns stormed a police station and nearby buildings in Sherino locality in Police District 10 of the city. Islamic State claimed the responsibility of the first attack while the Taliban claimed the second. However, the government agencies have provided a different version accusing Pakistan-backed Haqqani network. Eyewitnesses recounted the dreadful incident when the horrific scene replayed before their eyes as they spelled the horror.
ما ورخطا شدیم در اثنای برآمدن بودیم که دیگه انتیاری شده. صدای فایر میامد، صدای بسیار وحشتناک بود دیگه.
Resurging Taliban, which has recaptured large swathes of territory since the departure of the NATO forces from the country, have warned people to stay away from the democratic exercise of elections slated later this year. Other than Taliban, terrorist groups including the ISIS, Khorasan and the Pakistan-backed militants have been attacking people to discourage them from participating in the elections. The peaceful process of registration has met a horrific end more than once. Recently, 17 people were killed and 34 others grievously injured as a bomb exploded at a mosque which was being used as a voter center.
مسبقين المنزات يقبل جماعة لورو وجماعة كي بالمنزات لوري وانا سبيه شو درنا شو دنا وشوشنا نرى بزون نايو بيشارة بس زخميون وسر ببريكوت يواليو.
Dozens of people have been killed in suicide attacks in Kabul in recent weeks, including twin blast on April 30 that killed 26 people, including 9 journalists. The Afghan capital has seen an increase in bombings and other attacks against the security forces and civilians since the Taliban announced the beginning of their spring offensive on April 25.
Afghanistan's fragile security forces have been unable to contain the rapidly rising violence in the country. More than 200 people have died in Kabul alone in this year in attacks by Islamic State affiliate and Taliban. Moving on to Nepal, which has been working at multiple fronts to engage and deepen its ties with its neighbours. In the recent turn of diplomatic events, it hosted Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the ancient city of Janakpur. The visit, that is being regarded as a reciprocal visit to KP Oli's last successful trip to New Delhi last month, aims to further bolster the diplomatic relations of the countries. A report.
Ancient city of Nepal, Janakpur accorded a grand welcome to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his 2-day visit to Nepal, which came in the line of India reaching out to its neighbours in order to create a better, stronger and salubrious neighbourhood. PM Modi and his Nepalese counterpart KP Sharma Oli jointly inaugurated the Ramayan Circuit bus route that connects Janakpur, 225 km from capital Kathmandu to Ayodhya, a route that has been in existence in the Hindu mythology. While addressing people of Nepal, Modi stressed at the inherently strong ties between India and Nepal have shared owing to the same source of origination. He underscored that Nepal and India were the same, divided by mere geographic boundaries.
हमारी माता भी एक, हमारी आस्था भी एक, हमारी प्रकृति भी एक, हमारी संस्कृति भी एक, हमारा पथ भी एक और हमारी प्रार्थना भी एक, हमारे परिश्रम की महक भी है और हमारे पराक्रम की गुंज भी है। हमारी दृष्टि भी समान और हमारी सृष्टि भी समान है, हमारे सुख भी समान और हमारी चुनौतियां भी समान है।
Modi also announced a sum of rupees 100 crores to be given to Nepal to develop Janakpur and its surrounding areas. India and Nepal, who vowed to engage extensively at multiple fronts during the visit of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to New Delhi, will be engaged in further deepening of bilateral ties.
In order to improve connectivity between the countries to allow bulk cargo movement and enhance people-to-people connect, India will also be building a strategic railway link between Raxaul in India and Kathmandu in Nepal. We are now joined by Mr. Rajendra Dev Acharya, a senior journalist and political analyst from Nepal, to speak further on Indo-Nepal ties. Mr. Acharya, how do you see this reciprocal visit of Mr. Modi to Nepal vis-a-vis Indo-Nepal bilateral ties, which have gathered pace particularly after the KP Oli's visit to New Delhi?
This visit is not that very irregular. This is a kind of part of regular visit, between two bilateral visits. But I would say there are few programs that are pretty unconventional type of programs there are. So that number one, he has started his visit not from the capital, but from the province number 2, that's out of the capital. This is the very first time that any Indian Prime Minister has visited that way. And another thing is, both the Prime Ministers are going to greet each other in front of the Ram Janaki temple and performing or doing this kind of Ram Janaki puja together. That's very interesting, I would say.
Thank you, Mr. Acharya. Moving on to Pakistan's Sindh province, where human rights abuses have been a recurrent issue. From arbitrary arrests and forced disappearances to torture and extrajudicial killings, the situation is grim and worsening. Take a look.
Sindh is the second largest province of Pakistan by population after Punjab. Pakistani security forces have been involved in severe human rights violation in the region, including enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and suppression of religion. Reports have confirmed that not only do enforced disappearances persist, but shockingly, more than 14,000 persons remain missing and unaccounted for in Pakistan. In addition to failing to address enforced disappearances in its national policy, Pakistan is also yet to follow through on its commitment to the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Suppression of religion is frequent in Sindh through its intensification of state violence using Islamic militancy against non-Muslim and Muslim non-Sunni sects have been especially alarming. According to sources, there have been as many as 20,000 new madrasas opening in Sindh during the last few years, which teach intolerance and bigotry towards non-Muslim beliefs. Another particular recipient of human rights violations are girls and women, who have been victims of forced conversions.
According to a report from the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, 20 or more Hindu girls are abducted and converted every month in Pakistan. To get an in-depth of human rights situation in Sindh, my colleague Ravi Khandelwal recently spoke to Dr. Rubina Sheikh, chairperson of World Sindhi Congress.
Rubina ji, when we talk about the human rights situation in the Sindh province of Pakistan, what is the present situation out there?
The human rights situation in Pakistan overall, it's getting worse, and despite of repeated UPR, we call it Universal Periodic Review Sessions, and United Nations recommendations, and recently Pakistan being on Human Rights Council, the situation of human rights is getting worse. I mean, look at the Balochistan, look at the Sindh, and other Pashtunkhwa and other parts of the Pakistan. The situation is getting worse. More importantly, I think the areas which I will bring to attention is the enforced disappearances of political activists and journalists and any bloggers who are writing about their rights or any justifiable issues on the media or social media as well. Currently, enforced disappearances in Balochistan is in thousands at the moment, and I will bring the attention, the Sindh especially is getting more day by day. At the moment, especially in last year, 2017, is the worst year for the Sindhi political activists and journalists. About more than 160 political activists were taken, and actually in a 2 weeks' time, which was in August, actually more than 20 people were taken from one party group. And all this wave of increase is happening. One of the reasons we think the people or Sindhis are being talking against the project called CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And also there are the other projects going on such as Bahariya Town, Zulfikarabad, and Thar coal projects. And these are the very sort of serious projects in a way in terms of affecting the indigenous people of Sindh. What's actually happening in these projects, the land of the indigenous community has been taken away by government and handed over either to China or other government or other developers internationally to develop on those lands without the consent of indigenous families or indigenous people of Sindh.
Ruben, you talk about the enforced disappearances and killings of the political activists. So it's not only the Sindh, but it's a general phenomenon in Pakistan. So why the Pakistan Army and intelligence agencies are involved in these kind of incidents?
The why reason, probably it's very difficult to answer, but what we understand the situation is that the people, the activists, all the people, when they're talking about their rights and their economic rights or civil rights or social rights, which doesn't fit Pakistan's agenda of power and manipulation of resources of Pakistan, because if you look at today's government, it's not only Pakistan military, but Pakistan military, the government itself, and at the moment it's their police as well, or judiciary, because at the moment military is one of the largest enterprise in Pakistan, because they have an invested interest in Pakistan to generate money and control the resources across the Pakistan. So it's not only Sindh or Balochistan, but most of other parts. And when people are talking about their rights and not playing in the benefit of the military establishment or military enterprise, this is where the situation comes and the control. So I think this is a whole control of military really over the Pakistani resources, because at the moment they are one of the largest enterprise in the country.
Moving on to Bangladesh, where the 45th session of Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, the Council of Foreign Ministers, was held in the capital city Dhaka. This year's focus was the plight of the Rohingya refugees who have been living in refugee camps of Cox's Bazar since August last year. An appeal was made to Myanmar by various leaders to take back its citizens. A report.
Foreign ministers and representatives from 57 member states of Organization of Islamic Cooperation came together in capital Dhaka to discuss various issues ranging from social, economic and political to humanitarian cooperation pertaining to the Muslim world. The OIC, which aims to promote solidarity amongst its member states, strongly reiterated stands for the urgent actions required by the Myanmar government and the international community in order to give the Rohingyas a dignified life they were living before the mass exodus.
In the OIC, we should take strong action, manifesting solidarity with them and strengthen efforts in persuading the government of Myanmar to take urgent measures for a sustainable return of Rohingyas to their homeland in Rakhine State.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who has been critical of the Myanmar government for not making speedy arrangements to take back its citizens, alleged that now Myanmar was using different tactics to deliberately avoid the repatriation process. She also urged that the Muslims must not be mixed with those of terrorists, as these narratives was detrimental to the global society.
আজকে মুসলমান পরিচয়কে ভুলভাবে সহিংসতা ও চরমপন্থার সঙ্গে গুলিয়ে ফেলা হচ্ছে। এই অবস্থা কখনোই চলতে দেয়া যায় না, কারণ ইসলাম শান্তির ধর্ম, আমরা শান্তিতে বিশ্বাস করি। মাত্র মুষ্টিকয়েক লোকের জন্য আমাদের এই পবিত্র ধর্মের কোনো বদনাম হোক সেটা আমরা চাই না। এখন সময় এসেছে আমাদের চিন্তা চেতনা ও দৃষ্টিভঙ্গিতে আমূল পরিবর্তন আনার। সময় এসেছে টেকসই শান্তি, সংহতি ও সমৃদ্ধির আলোকে আমাদের ভবিষ্যৎকে নতুন আঙ্গিকে ঢেলে সাজানো।
Rohingyas were forced to leave their homes in the Rakhine state of Myanmar after a military offensive was launched following militant attacks on security posts in the region. Hundreds of thousands fled to neighboring Bangladesh and have been living in precarious conditions since then. Various attempts to send them back to their own country have not yielded any results as of now.
This is very important. This is one of the concrete steps that has been taken to alleviate the problem of our brothers and sisters Rohingyas. This is a very important issue. We still keep the pressure. We still keep talking about it. We still pressure the international committee to do something about it, because this is, as I said, and I always say, continue to say, this is not religious. This is a human basic rights of our brothers and sisters in the last 50 years that we hope it comes to conclusion, inshallah, in the near future. At the same time, we thank Bangladesh and the Bangladesh government and people for hosting over 1 million of our brothers and sisters Rohingya in this land with the strained resources that they have. But their generosity and love and solidarity with them will alleviate their problem.
The overall population of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh is currently estimated to be over 1 million according to the United Nations. Myanmar and Bangladesh agreed in January to complete the voluntary repatriation of the refugees within 2 years, but differences between the sides are still prevalent, because of which the implementation of the plan has been very slow. Only days ago, Myanmar authorities had claimed successful repatriation of the first family. However, the exercise still hasn't gained momentum owing to several reasons, including refugees being reluctant to go back unless proper security measures are taken.
Myanmar has reassured the international community that it will allow a smooth repatriation process in coming days. Moving on to Afghanistan, where people are forced to spend much of their time inside homes owing to a persistent atmosphere of fear and violence in the country. However, there has emerged a story of hope in which a group of girl coders have created games aimed at educating and discouraging people from cultivating opium. Have a look.
Young boys and grown-ups in Afghanistan are coerced into living a life of inhibition as an increasingly insecure atmosphere has restricted their life to the confines of their homes. Sitting on sofas in front of TV screens, the gamers, almost entirely men and boys, race cars, play soccer or battle monsters for hours to seek solace from reality. But in western city of Herat, a group of girls and women are busy at work building computer games. Trained by a non-profit group, Code to Inspire, the young coders have created more than 20 games since the center opened in 2015, and the fight against opium has garnered media attention for the message it seeks to spread.
ما فقط خواستیم یکی از مشکلات افغانستان رو به تصویر بکشیم و خواستیم پیام خود ما رو بگیم که ما هم راضی نیستیم که به کشور ما مواد مخدر ذکر کشته و خواستیم که دیدی که خود نسبت به کشور ما داریم کشت زعفران هسته همین به تصویر بکشیم.
In addition to entertaining and educational games, they also create mobile phone apps, message stickers and company websites, providing a rare opportunity for women to develop a professional skill and work in Afghanistan. The Code to Inspire is currently training 90 females between the ages of 15 to 25 in its coding and software development program.
در داخل دنیای گیم دیولپمنت گیم‌های زیادی ساخته میشه که برای فن و تفریح استفاده میشه. یک کاتگوری از این گیم‌ها به نام گیم فور چنج یاد میشه. گیم فور چنج به گیم‌های گفته میشه که برای چنج یا برای تغییر در جامعه استفاده میشه.
The government of Afghanistan has made repeated efforts to discourage people from pursuing the cultivation of opium, which has lured a large number of farmers as they find it both lucrative and a preventive step to escape the mayhem of the resurgent Taliban. With Taliban gaining control over large swathes of territory in recent time, people have found government's efforts of providing them an alternative useless. Government data shows opium production hit a record high in 2017, increasing by 87% from 2016, hitting 9,000 metric tons. Area of poppy cultivation jumped by 63% as production spread to areas in the north which are traditionally not associated with the plant.
With no solution in sight, even after years of war, Afghanistan has found some hope with its own citizens acknowledging the challenges and coming up with solutions. Moving on to India, where divas and Bollywood actors walked the ramp for a cause in the tinsel town, Mumbai. In order to generate awareness about the cancer and fundraise for the same, a plethora of fashionistas joined hands. Have a look.
The atmosphere got charged with experience as Bollywood actresses, top pageant winners, television actresses and models walked the ramp for a fundraising show for cancer research in India's entertainment capital, Mumbai. Embellished with outfits designed by ace designers of the country, Indian television actresses Rashmi Desai, Prachisha Bantia, Aarti Singh set the ramp on fire as they walked. Bollywood actress Deshisha done showstopper for the shimmery show, wearing dresses designed by popular Indian designer Mihika Mirpuri.
I feel privileged to be a part of such a cause, and doing my own thing in a very little way and contributing to this cause. So I feel really privileged and honored.
Popular Bollywood actor Puman Irani, who has featured in similar shows on several occasions, hosted the show and spoke compassionately about a deadly disease that has taken several lives in the country and around the world. Actress Manisha Koirala congratulated the organizers and urged people to spread awareness about the deadly disease.
I don't know how many hours a day you sleep, but God bless you for it. The children and the ones who have been stricken with cancer will benefit from it.
बहुत ही कोई भी अच्छा काम कर रहा हो, स्पेशली कैंसर के इलाज के लिए, तो मुझे बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है. मैं तो ऐसे ही खोजती रही थी कि अच्छा कोई फाउंडेशन, कोई ग्रुप, कोई भी अच्छे लोग जो काम कर रहे हों और सच्चे दिल से कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हों, और ऐसे में पार्टिसिपेट करते हुए आई फील ऑनर्ड. और मैं भी ये लोग कितना कर रहे हैं, कितना एफर्ट कर रहे हैं, कितना पैसा उन्होंने रेस किया है, और मैं भी थोड़ा सा भी छोटा सा भी कंट्रीब्यूट करूं तो मुझे अच्छा लगता है.
According to National Cancer Registry Program of the Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR), India recorded an estimated of 3.9 million cases of cancer in 2016. ICMR has predicted that India is likely to have over 1.73 million new cases of cancer and over 880,000 deaths due to the disease by 2020, with breast, lung and cervix cancers topping the list.
Lately, many prominent personalities have been seen joining the awareness campaigns. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Take care and goodbye.